Welcome to MacRack's video seminar about end of row guards. Those are those massive guards that help protect the end of the row from impacts from forklifts and other vehicles within your warehouse space. There are many benefits to end of row guards. You'll see up to 70% fewer accidents, 60% reduced maintenance cost due to the reduction in overall accidents and impacts, and 30% fewer safety incidents according to industry statistics. 80% of the damage ends up happening in the end of the row because it is the most exposed part of your racking system. So it requires particular care in protecting this part of your racking system. Additionally, we see 65% higher speeds in the end of row area, and then it gets reduced once it gets into the actual aisle zone. Additionally, we also see 20% higher traffic around these corner locations. That's why you need to pay particular attention to the end of each row in protecting it. There are also some inherent structural weaknesses in the end of a row. So because it's not in part of the contiguous part of the overall structure, it doesn't have beams to this side, obviously. And one wouldn't think that that necessarily is going to cause a problem. But because it's only supported on this side, the single support of beams reduces the amount of overall structure that is supporting these two verticals in the frame system. It can also increase torque stress, meaning the stress that will be pushed this way because there's no beams to counterbalance it on this side. And then of course, as we've been talking, there's increased impact exposure because the frame on the end is open to traffic directly. The industry standards ProGamma and RMI both recommend having guards installed on all of these end of row points in order to protect your racking and framing. They don't specify which specific design because they don't know the specific engineering of each racking system. But they do recommend that you have these types of end of row guards in these situations in order to keep with best practices of the racking industry. So let's look at a few different designs that are available from different manufacturers of end of row guards. Now this is the Damo guard, and it is a particular guard that's detached from the column guards. So it's a large, robust angled iron piece that is bolted onto the floor, so it transfers all impacts to the concrete of the floor, and it keeps them a distance away from the end of row frames. The one difference here is that this particular setup, this particular design does not have the column guard integrated into it, so you're free to choose whichever column guard that you want on the end of this particular system. Damotech does have their own column guards that they obviously recommend that pair well with their end of row system. So then there's the MacRack integrated guard system, where again we have a robust angle iron that is structural steel, which is welded to a half pipe rounded. So it's actually a structural steel half pipe that's been cut in half and is a ½ inch thick. It's very robust and it protects the upright column in the front as well as along the side from any kind of impacts from forklifts and other kinds of vehicles within your warehouse situation. There's also a formed guard from MacRack, which is for narrow aisles, which has, again, ½ inch steel, but as you can see, it's abutted right up against the framing system there in the front, so it acts as a column guard as well as the end of aisle guard in this particular case as well. Now we also have this guardrail style, which is you just basically put a guardrail in front of the end of the row of your frame. Now again, it does not protect the column particularly from this impact on this side. It only protects the front of the system. It doesn't go all the way down to the floor, so you could potentially have blades impact underneath that part of this particular guardrail style guard. Now here's another unique design. It's a guard that's bolted onto column guards. So you have these unique column guards that protect the columns on either end of the frame, and then you have a front piece that's bolted onto that. So it does leave this bottom strut quite exposed, and it also has a little bit of additional anchor points that are placed in very close proximity to the anchor points that are placed in the column. And in my mind, this might also degrade the overall concrete structure with this many holes in close proximity to the overall structural anchor points for the column as well. So it's a more complex design, and it doesn't protect the bottommost strut or even the back of the column from impact. So how to evaluate these designs? Let's look at some criteria. You're going to want to look for a 50,000 PSI impact rating on your guards so that you can know that your guards will hold up to most impacts from different forklifts and vehicles within your warehouse system. Another thing to think about is the location of the manufacturer. Manufacturing within the United States and Canada, North America, Europe, these manufacturing locations have high standards. If you're getting them from some other country, you do not know their standards and the certifications that they will manufacture their parts to. So that's something to keep in mind. There's also distribution issues. MacRack is located within the center of the United States, within the population mean, so that it is very close to most of the population of the United States, and it can easily reach with deliverability and access to most of the United States within a day or 2 days. Look for the gauge of the steel. Again, that PSI rating is very important. The gauge of the steel is very important. We actually go beyond 3/8 inch steel. We have 1/2 inch steel in the front of MacRack guards in the front area of the column guards. It's a very robust guard and very capable of protecting your racking systems. Again, these guards are powder coated instead of being painted, where you'll see the paint can chip off easily and lead to corrosion and degradation of your guard over time. However, the powder coating is bonded with the steel, and you'll have, due to high temperatures, that it's actually baked into the steel. And so you'll have better results with a powder coated finished. So look for that in any kind of guard that you're looking to purchase for your system. Look for that Made in USA seal, and because we have certified welders and certified steel that goes into all of our products. And so we're very proudly made in the USA. Ease of installation is another consideration. Now, some of the products that we saw have multiple parts that need to be assembled and multiple parts that need to be anchored into the concrete. So one of the things about the MacRack system is that it has a fairly easy installation. It has 4 main anchors that you could put into the floor, and those anchors are some distance away from the anchors that are already extant on the system. So you're not going to be interfering with any of the floor and competing with that in any kind of structural way. And so the installation is very easy. You're not having to bolt it onto anything else. You're not having to separate your column guards and put on separate column guards. It's all in one complete piece, and it's fairly easy to install. So here are some of the other benefits of the MacRack. Not only do you have the choice between the formed and the rounded, but you also have something that will be compatible with all different makes and brands and styles, where the roll form or structural steel. These are engineered designs to meet or exceed all standards. We have a massive 1/2 inch thick column shield in the front, and there are 4 anchor points that will transfer the impact, any impact that happens, to the floor. So all of these things are above and beyond what you need to protect your end of row, and it's a very excellent product made by MacRack. So we have the rounded end of row guard and the formed end of row guards. So you get to choose from these 2 different models to protect the end of rows, which is one of the most vulnerable places in your warehouse. So thanks for listening to this video seminar, and if you have any questions, contact us at macrack.com and we'd be happy to help you.